New rules from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau could save Americans billions in overdraft fees beginning next October.
Typically, you might pay your bank an overdraft fee of $35 per transaction if you spend more money than you have available in your checking account. Well, now this new rule would cap those fees at $5 for many customers. Banks could still end up charging you more than $5, but if they do, you'd have to agree to those terms up front, like when you take out a loan.
ABC's Elizabeth Schulze on those overdraft fees. 5 animals have died from bird flu in Arizona. Now there are California infections.
With bird flu cases rising in animals and in humans, California says it is now investigating 2 possible cases of bird flu in cats that were given recalled raw milk from a company called Raw Farm. The company has issued a recall of its raw milk, which has shown bird flu in multiple samples. Humans have been warned to stay away from raw milk and only drink pasteurized milk. The process kills the virus. People who have been around the infected cats are being watched for symptoms. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The cost of your morning cup of joe expected to rise even more because of climate change. Some of Brazil's and Vietnam's top coffee roasters are set to increase prices after unusually heavy rains reduced their crops. Vietnam and Brazil are the world's 2 top coffee producers. Raw coffee prices soared to a record this week and are up about 80% this year so far. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. Over the past 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities, dignitaries, and individuals worldwide. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star and give the ultimate Christmas gift. The star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333 to give the brightest gift. That's 800-282-3333.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
I'm Gil Walter, KVNU News. The news is brought to you by Cardall's Insulation. A federal judge in Utah sentenced Louisiana rap artist NBA Youngboy to just over 2 years in prison on gun-related charges after he acknowledged having possessed weapons despite being a convicted felon. The rapper, whose real name is Kentrell Gaulden, reached an agreement that resolved Utah state charges against him and settled 2 sets of federal charges against him. One carries a 23-month sentence, and the other orders 5 years of probation and a $200,000 fine. The 25-year-old Gaulden from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, reached the agreement with federal prosecutors in September, and he and the attorneys signed the deal Tuesday, according to court documents. The rapper acknowledged that while filming a rap video in Baton Rouge, he possessed a Glock 45 caliber pistol and a Masterpiece Arms 9mm handgun. Also, he said in April he possessed a Sig Sauer 9mm semi-automatic pistol at his home in Huntsville, Utah. He agreed to give up the guns. Gaulden had previously been convicted in Louisiana of aggravated assault with a firearm, according to his statement released in advance of the plea agreement. Utah agents raided Gaulden's home in April amid a complaint that he had posed as a doctor in an effort to obtain prescription painkillers. Multiple news outlets reported. As part of the federal deal, he would plead guilty to 10 state charges and be sentenced to time served plus a $25,000 fine. Gaulden apologized to the court and his family before federal judge Howard Nielsen handed down the sentence. More than 2,400 women will serve in state legislatures in 2025. That's a new record, according to the Center for American Women in Politics at Rutgers University. But Utah ranks in the bottom 10 states in the nation for legislative representation by women at about 27%. The center's Jean Sinsdek says women bring their diverse and distinct life experiences to the policy-making table. She says it's always positive when governing bodies look more like the communities they represent.
Big piece of this is just making sure that there is diversity and representation in all kinds of ways, including by gender, but also, life experience, career, socioeconomic status, and so on.
Sinsdek says it's positive when a variety of people serve in state legislatures. She adds, while trends are moving in the right direction, there's more to be done. And the Utah National Guard announced Wednesday it has been selected to receive a National Guard Infantry Battalion. The unit is expected to add an additional 762 soldiers into the Utah Army National Guard. Brigadier General Sean Fullenbach, Assistant Adjutant General and Commander of the Utah Army National Guard, said that an infantry battalion brings a unique and versatile force to the state that benefits recruiting and retention and provides an increased domestic capability. The administrative process and timeline of standing up the battalion is still being determined, following which the unit will be officially recognized with all its personnel and equipment no later than September 2028. Some big changes are coming to News Talk KVNU. We are beginning the process of greatly increasing our coverage area. We've received approval to increase 610 AM to 25,000 watts, meaning you'll be able to hear KVNU through all of northern Utah, southern Idaho, and western Wyoming. During the construction process, 610 AM will be at low power while new transmission lines are installed. You can always hear KVNU at 102.1 and 102.5 on the FM dial, or streaming at kvnutalk.com and the KVNU mobile app. 30% chance of snow, mainly after 2 a.m. tonight, tomorrow morning. Mostly cloudy, low around 24. 40% chance of snow during the day on Friday. Mostly cloudy, high in the upper 30s. Less than half an inch possible out of that snowfall. Get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
As the weather outside turns frightful, it's time to think about making the inside of your home delightful. Wrap your home in warmth this winter with Cardall's insulation. Their insulation doesn't just keep the cold out, it keeps the warm in. Today's insulation will make your home quieter and can dramatically cut down on your energy bill. Whether it's an attic, garage, or your entire home in need of insulation, Cardall's Insulation is who you should call. 755-5012. There's still a tax credit up to $1,200 you can take advantage of. Call 755-5012.
Breaking news, stimulating talk. News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
As you gather your family around this special time of year, the family of caregivers at Legacy House of Logan want to extend a heartfelt thank you for allowing us to care for your loved ones. Our goal is to provide each resident the personal care they deserve. If you care for an aging loved one, stop in sometime. You may be surprised how affordable, good hospitality, health care, and personal service really is. In fact, it may be one of the best gifts you can give a parent or grandparent. Legacy House of Logan on 1400 North in Logan.
Happy holidays from Birch Creek Golf Course. For your golfer this Christmas, I invite you to visit birchcreekgolf.com. Birch Creek's online store offers punch passes that are on sale at the spring sale price, as well as driving range passes and discounted golf lessons from our PGA teaching staff. So for your golfer this Christmas, I invite you to visit birchcreekgolf.com and enjoy Birch Creek's virtual online store. And happy holidays from your friends at Birch Creek.
Of today's show. It is still December 12th. I'm Jason Williams. It is time for our monthly spotlight on the Logan School District, and I'm excited to do this because we have quite a few guests here in the studio, and we're going to talk about what I think is one of the most challenging things that a young person can take on at the high school level, but also probably one of the most rewarding. We're going to be talking about a scholarship program that has been around or scholar program, rather, that's been around a really, really long time. But I'll let them set it up. We have here in the studio with us as well Frank Schofield, Superintendent of the Logan School District, and Samuel Smith, Violet Bateman, and Taylor Laney. Did I say everyone's names right?
Yeah.
First time. I'm impressed. And Frank, tell us a little bit about everyone you brought with you today.
Yeah, so we're excited to be here, and this is a really fun group to talk about. As you mentioned, the Sterling Scholar Program has been around since 1962. That's when it was started. There was a reporter down at the Deseret News in Salt Lake who had previously worked for another newspaper that did a recognition program for academic excellence. And as this reporter started talking with his editor and some of the marketing people, they realized that in the state of Utah, there was an existing structure for celebrating athletic excellence, but there wasn't anything for academics. So they decided to put something together, and that's where the Sterling Scholar Program originated. It incorporates 14 different categories of different academic endeavors, from arts to math to language arts, etc. And every year we have students who we recognize at Logan High School as our Sterling Scholar candidates. And these are students who have done outstanding work in a particular area of emphasis, something that they're really passionate about. And we then submit their names, and they put together a portfolio that gets submitted to the state, and they engage in the competition there. So it's a great way to celebrate it's just students who are achieving outstanding things academically in the areas of their life that they're pursuing. So tonight we've got, as we said, we have Sam, who's been musical instruments. We've got Taylor, who's science and technical learning. Not technical learning. What's the official term?
It's like some technical sciences.
There we go, technical science. Skilled in technical science. Yeah. Sorry, I had to open my notes up so I see it. And then Violet, who's our Sterling Scholar in English. So we just wanted to bring them in so they can talk a little bit about their passions, what they've been working on, and again, just to celebrate the level of student excellence that we see in our schools, and in this case, particularly at Logan High.
This is, so I remember when I was in high school, the Sterling Scholars were really busy. That's one of the main takeaways I remember. Friends I had that entered into the program. There are I don't know if requirements is the right word, or expectations maybe it would be a better word. If you're going to take this program seriously and reap the benefits of being a Sterling Scholar, you have to put in some hours, right? This is not easy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So how stressful does it get at times?
Well, it's more just about managing time than anything. I'd say
that right there, I'm out. Done.
You have a pretty wide margin for time to get, because you have to write, I think it's 6 essays total. Each has 500 words. And then you have to list some things that you've done in like community service or category expertise and stuff like that. So, but they give you, I think we first tried out for Sterling Scholar, wasn't it November?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was early November. So they give, and we have to have it by January 10th.
Wow.
And so they do give you a lot of time, but with that much stuff to do, you just have to be good at managing time and just being consistent more than anything. I think the biggest takeaway I've had is just not procrastinate. And so I started immediately trying to hammer things home. So I don't have that late night where I just have to get everything done all at once.
It was that was my experience. I was really good at doing that through high school, and high school seemed easy. And then I got into college, and then there are actual rules and nobody to enforce them. You're just going to fail if you don't. So I had a friend who was a Sterling Scholar that ended up being kind of a nice mentor for me in my freshman year of college, because she could say, well, have you tried this, and have you tried, and I actually learned time management for the first time. But this is also a program where you have a lot of freedom to kind of, you talk about the essays and things like that. You're expected to sort of guide yourself a bit through it. It's not just checking a list of items off, right? Has that been a challenge? Have there been times as you entered the program and thought, oh, this might be a little too much?
Definitely, for sure. I think applying in the very beginning. So first you have to win for your high school, and then you win for your region. And that's what we're preparing for right now as region. But our counselors at our school, they gave us an example portfolio, and I don't think it was any of our things we went. Was it yours? The example? No. Yeah, it was
Emma Anderson's.
Yeah, and it wasn't any category, and so you kind of have a baseline idea, and then you have to build your own portfolio and put in your own work, and you have a lot of freedom with it, but that comes with a bit of stress because you're like, what if everything I just did is wrong?
That is, how many essays again did you say?
I think 6. It's around that.
That's impressive, though. What do you have planned? Anybody have you gotten that far in the program yet?
Not me.
Not yet. It's early though, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of doing something for like one of them is like category expertise. So I'm kind of branching off my personal statement essay for like on Common App. You have to do a personal statement, and so for category expertise, my sophomore year, my orchestra teacher nominated me to go on a trip to New York City and play in Carnegie Hall. And so I obviously did that.
Very cool.
It's Carnegie Hall. But
sure.
After I did that, I learned a lot about myself. Like I don't really know. I learned how to work harder and like what is like necessary to put in and be prepared. And so versus just like kind of, winging it, I guess.
Okay.
So I learned a lot from that trip, and I was able to come away with it with like a newfound sense of just like direction and I'd say work ethic.
That's very cool. Now, that's kind of the purpose of a program like this, right? Maybe, Frank, from your perspective as superintendent, this is what he just described is exactly what you want to hear, right?
Yeah, we
as
want
a
to
result
see
of a program like this.
Yeah, our district mission is ensure students leave our schools ready to create a positive future for themselves and for their community once they leave. So all the things that Sam's described, the time management, the goal setting, the reflection, the being able to communicate that reflection effectively and identify how you're going to meet a goal, those are all things that we want students to develop through their time throughout their school experience, so then they can take that with them as they leave and pursue whatever path they're going to pursue after high school graduation. So to hear it get described this way and the experiences that these students are sharing, anytime you have a program like Sterling Scholar that's pushing people to achieve at a higher level and think about that and what makes that achievement possible, that's rewarding, because those are the types of experiences that prepare us for future success.
That is very cool. This is maybe this would be interesting for listeners as well too, to understand the program and what you're doing with it. Maybe we can start over here and just kind of work our way around. Start with Violet and what is your area of expertise? If
Me
you,
first?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you had to say where you excel already and where you would like to excel as you continue through the program. Do you come in with an area that's you're just good at it?
So I've done medical stuff like all high school. Like I knew I was wanting to go medical before I went to high school. I took all the classes, but like the start of my junior year, I like kind of set on nursing.
Okay.
And so I've just honestly taken all the prereqs for nursing for that to go into that. And
That's
so
amazing.
for, I guess, my area of the Sterling Scholar is the technical sciences. So I'm planning to go to Bridgerland for my nursing to get my RN there. So that's kind of like where I am.
That's very that's impressive to see that level of focus. That is, and for you, Sam. Sorry, Sam and we can't see each other.
That's fine.
That was
sorry,
Taylor
I'm
just
sorry.
barely. But
I've got you all reversed in my mind. So Taylor,
yeah.
I apologize. Violet, I can't see each other, so hi.
Hi.
We have a big monitor in the way, but for you, Violet, this is a hefty thing to take on. What do you come in as sort of your area of expertise, or if you could just wave a magic wand now, where would you head?
Well, my area is English, and I've always loved writing. I've always loved reading. I'm going to minor in journalism. That's my plan for college.
Oh.
But why I think I won for our school is because I'm publishing an article in the Herald Journal coming up. So that's exciting. And I'm also writing 2 books if I ever can seem to finish them. So those are my big plans. Oh, and I have a podcast.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Taylor and Violet. We can promote it before the end of the hour. Perfect. We will. But you have to name it before the end of the hour. So be thinking about that.
Okay, perfect.
That journalism, huh? That's very cool.
Yeah.
One thing I love from what we just hear right now is what the Sterling Scholar is about is celebrating excellence and what it takes to achieve excellence.
Okay.
And in our society, in the world we live in, we can see lots of examples where people are satisfied with less than excellence. I'll do enough to get by. I'll do just enough. And then we also occasionally, one of the challenges with social media is often it can create the perception that excellence is something that you can just fall into.
Sure.
It just happens naturally, or it happens because you happen to be particularly gifted, or you happen to be particularly talented. And excellence is a standard that if you're going to achieve it, it takes work. It takes conscious effort. It takes conscious planning. And what I love about what you're hearing these students talk about is, yes, they are working to achieve excellence. Sure. They're not just saying, well, I'll do the bare minimum. If you're running a podcast and you got ideas for a couple of books and you're writing for the journals and you're playing in Carnegie Hall and you've been doing pre-med stuff your entire time in high school, none of that is, well, I'm just going to stumble into success.
Sure.
It's, I'm going to perform at a high level and I'm going to do what it takes to get there. And that's why I think Sterling Scholar is so valuable, is it recognizes that both excellence and the effort to achieve excellence are things that we should highlight, that we should value, and we should all strive more for.
Sure.
Not being just, you don't just float through life. You plan a course and you go after it. And when we achieve at high levels, then we're able to help other people around us achieve at high levels. We help other people excel, and we make the world a better place. And students like these 3 right here are the type of people who are going to make the world a better place because they're pursuing excellence.
Maybe you can talk about this as well, Frank, before you pass the mic back there. But and sorry, guys, we're going to talk about you like you're not in the room. We'll make it awkward just for a second. But so I hear some, nursing, journalism, and we'll get to you. And I want to hear what you played at Carnegie Hall. But I'm hearing, these are big goals for this age. These are and very focused on what they want to do. Does that is that what draws a person to the Sterling program, or is the Sterling program what kind of brings that out, or is it a mix of the two?
Well, that's a great question.
I've always wondered, because students in the program are always driven towards, they know where they want to go.
I think, and these students can correct us if I'm wrong, I think the Sterling Scholar program, I don't think it creates that greatness, but I think it gives us an opportunity to recognize it and celebrate it. I don't know very many students who end up pursuing Sterling Scholar because in their 9th grade year, they hear about Sterling Scholar and say, wow, I haven't been motivated to do well in school yet, but now I'm going to try to do well because I want to be a Sterling Scholar. It's people who are driven to do well, who are driven to put the time in, put the effort in, and this is a way to recognize it and to celebrate it. I think that's generally where I see it fall a little bit more, because I've never seen a person who wasn't motivated and hadn't been motivated to pursue excellence for a significant period of time, all of a sudden switch it on their senior year and say, I'm going to be a Sterling Scholar this year.
That's
doesn't seem to usually be how it works.
Very cool. Thank you. That's been a question I've always wanted to ask.
I am happy to be proven wrong. Anybody has a different viewpoint, but that's just what I've observed so far.
That is very cool. Just a couple of minutes before we have to go to the news break, you, Sam, you played Carnegie Hall. Mm-hmm. Was that intimidating?
Oh, yeah.
A bit?
Yeah, it was. It's very, surprise, it's really big. And, it's gorgeous and the acoustics are amazing. And I was sitting in a room with some of like, I think personally, like some of the most talented musicians in maybe the nation. And it was just such a great experience to be able to go there and learn from everybody. I mean, there was some people from like China came over. There was, so like all around the globe. And it was just, we had a world-class conductor. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name. I'm blanking on the pieces too, but everything about the program is so amazing.
That's
I can tell
cool.
you what the program's called, but I can't remember the pieces or the conductor. But again, it was just such a great opportunity to be able to learn from such a world-class musician and learn from other super talented musicians, and I'm very thankful for it.
That's very cool. This is, and same question for you as for Taylor and Violet. Where do you want to end up?
Personally, I think I really enjoy the cello, and I think it's gotten me to a lot of places. And so I want to continue it when I go into college. But my main passion is for biomedical sciences. I plan to major in biomedical engineering. I think the applications of the science are just super cool, and it can help a lot of people. And so I plan to major in biomedical engineering, but if I can, I would love to either double major or minor in instrumental arts.
That is very cool. Mm-hmm. This is, again, you've just heard from 3 students who at a very young age are very focused and driven and have a clear idea of where they'd like to go. And of course, this might change. You might get into a nursing program and decide, maybe, or maybe you get headed down the road towards being a journalist and realize that you actually want a paycheck. I'm just kidding. That was a joke.
That's what I'm for.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's why. Stay close with these two. So you can stay on their couch. No, I'm just kidding. It's a joke. I really, it's impressive because we're talking with potentially a future nurse saving lives, a future journalist keeping elected officials honest and reporting on the world around us at a time when we could really use a lot more of that. And Sam, that type of engineering I know is extremely complicated. That's very cool. But the cello is a beautiful instrument, so I'm glad to hear that you're not going to give that up. And it's a pleasure to get to talk about this. And we're having this conversation again under an overall umbrella of talking about the Sterling Scholar Program. SterlingScholar.org if you'd like to learn more. This is a really, really unique program, and it has produced some, I think, really focused students that head off out of high school into secondary education with a leg up that they've given themselves. And on the other side, maybe we can talk a little bit more about the competition side of the program, because it does get pretty aggressive. In the studio with us, we have Superintendent of Logan Schools, Frank Schofield, and students in the Sterling Scholar Program, Samuel Smith, Violet Bateman, and Taylor Laney. Please, for all of our listeners, stick around. More to come right after this look at the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Threat to national security.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News is brought to you by Roof Rescue. At some point, everyone has used a coin toss to make a decision, but in Midvale, it was heads or tails to choose the city's new mayor. The city was forced to look for a new leader after former mayor Marcus Stevenson resigned suddenly last month for personal reasons. Tuesday's city council meeting began with 11 candidates for the open job, with interim mayor Paul Glover receiving 2 votes, while 3 other candidates each received 1 vote, tying for a spot in the final round. That's when a coin came into play. Utah state law requires an initial vote, and if one candidate receives a 3-vote majority, that person becomes mayor. If no one receives that majority, then there's a tie, and state code says any ties have to be settled by a coin toss, according to city manager Matt Dahl. Rory Anderson, the city's human resources director, had the honor of tossing the coin during the final round. Dustin Gettle went on to win a majority 3-2 vote and was crowned Midvale's new mayor. New Mayor Getzel said he was surprised but humbled at the same time. He thanked the city council. They had a very difficult decision to make. The First Presbyterian Church, located at 178 West Center in Logan, will be celebrating their sanctuary being 100 years old on Sunday. Derek Forbes has been the pastor of the Logan Church for 12 years. He said they have a cornerstone on their building with 1924 engraved on it. Sunday's celebration will feature Brandon Clayton, the church organist, and the Westminster Bell Choir. The pipe organ was refurbished in 2016 after 50 years of use, and the organ pipes are front and center in the sanctuary. Forbes said the stained glass windows are original. They are not the most energy efficient. He said someday the church hopes to have them double paned. The original part of the building has a basement, Westminster Hall, where there is a room with a stage. It has been used for community plays and concerts over the years. Alcoholics Anonymous meetings are held there several times a week now. The church also hosts Loaves and Fishes, a twice-monthly community meal. Forbes is also an active member of Cash Community Connections. KVNU weather is brought to you by Cardall's Insulation. If you have an older home that was built before 1980, you should consider updating your insulation. Today's insulation is superior to what you'll find in older homes. For a warmer, quieter home this winter, call 755-5012. We do have a 30% chance of snow overnight, mostly cloudy, low in the mid-20s. 40% chance of snow on Friday, cloudy, upper 30s for the high. And then rain and snow Saturday morning, becoming all rain Saturday afternoon. Saturday's high in the mid-40s. Get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. The president-elect met with the two top leaders of the International Longshoremen's Association at his Florida estate, says a statement from the union, which also says Mr. Trump expressed strong support for union dock workers and taking a stand against automation. The man charged in the murder of United Healthcare's chief executive is being held on a gun charge and is fighting extradition to New York. Prosecutors say they've matched Luigi Mangioni's fingerprints to items from the crime scene. ABC's Aaron Katursky.
Those are the kinds of things that investigators in this early stage are presenting to the grand jury. We also know they've been talking to his family and others as they try to round out a picture of this 26-year-old.
Amid calls from local and state leaders that the Fed should do something about suspected drone sightings over an area of New Jersey, a joint statement from the FBI and Department of Homeland Security says there's no evidence of any kind of threat to national security or safety. This is ABC News.
For over a decade, Roof Rescue has been safeguarding your homes with the finest roofing solutions. We understand the value of your time. That's why we're committed to replacing most roofs in just one day. With award-winning service, 100% guaranteed workmanship, and the best warranties in the industry, your watertight peace of mind is guaranteed. Call us today at 435-999-4268 or visit roofrescueusa.com and ask for the $250 off any roof replacement. Financing available? That's roofrescueusa.com.
Disasters don't wait for a convenient time. When the unexpected strikes, call the trusted team at Blue Sky. Remember, Blue Sky is that same great ARS team you know and trust.
This is Tom with Blue Sky Restoration. When disaster strikes, whether it's a flood, fire, mold damage, or an unforeseen accident, Blue Sky will clean up, repair, and restore your home or business like it was before. No disaster is too big or too small. For all your restoration needs, you can trust our Blue Sky team.
Not sure what to give for a holiday gift for family or employees? How about a gift card to Beehive Pub and Grill? Receive a voucher for a free gelato with a $25 gift card purchase, or a voucher for a free burger or sandwich of your choice with a $50 gift card purchase. Take care of your coworkers, employees, and family with a gift card from Beehive Pub and Grill. Open 11 to 8:30 weekdays and 11 to 9 Friday and Saturday. Beehive Pub and Grill is perfect for the holidays.
Hey, business owners, when it comes to your employee benefits package, you deserve the best. This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance and Alera Benefits. We believe employee benefits should be affordable and hassle-free. Let's sit down and give your benefits package a fresh look. Call Quality First Insurance and Alera Benefits today, 435-752-0101.
Where's my glasses? My contacts are hurting my eyes.
Your busy life does not have to be limited by blurred vision or the hassle of contacts and glasses. Hi, this is Dr. Landon Karen. I am a board-certified ophthalmologist with Northern Utah Eye Center. I'm excited to announce that we are now offering LASIK eye surgery. LASIK eye surgery doesn't just change your vision, it changes your life. Visit northernutaheyecenter.com or call 752-2020 to schedule your free LASIK consult today.
You're gonna love what you see. 25 NCAA championships, 18 conference championships.
And the Aggies are going dancing.
10 tournament championships.
The Aggies are pulling out the scissors, and they're going to cut down the nest.
Our winning culture continues. Our Utah State Aggies play here on the Aggie Sports Network.
Pre-game begins 1 hour before tip-off. Don't miss game day on your home of the Aggies. News Talk KVNU.
For the people. In the studio with us this hour for our monthly spotlight on the Logan School District, we have Sterling Scholar students alongside Superintendent Frank Schofield. We also have in the studio Samuel Smith, Violet Bateman, and Taylor Laney. And I mixed up their names. I actually reversed all of their names in the first hour, so I'm going to make sure to not make that mistake again.
We'll forgive you.
It's been one of those weeks, fellas, folks. And fellas is a holdover from Hour One's Theater Hour when Charlie made me sing a song with that word in it. It's really it's been so interesting over the last 2-3 years that we've been doing these spotlights on Logan schools. To move through different topics and different aspects of this. But the Sterling Scholar Program and the students here today and the students in the program at large, this is really fascinating to me because it is voluntarily taking on a heavier workload and a lot of dialed up pressure at a time when, just graduating with a decent GPA is enough. No one would complain. No parent's going to complain about that. So that's a question I'd like to ask all of you now, and you can answer collectively if you want, if the answer is the same, or individually. But what made you do this? What prompted you to take this on?
Can I go first?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Hi, Mom. So, my mom, her name's Angie. I love her. She's the best. She went to West Point. She graduated high school as a valedictorian. And she's, obviously very, very smart. She is 100% the person that's pushed me the most throughout my life to just do things like this to try to become, a better version of myself. And, it's, I love my mom. So
that is,
Yeah,
that's why I said I want to go. That's why I said I want to go first.
Sam should have gone last. No, that's a great answer, and that has to feel good for your mom to hear. What about Taylor? Is this? You mentioned earlier a career goal.
Yeah.
That kind of drove you to that. Is that kind of your answer?
I kind of have a funny story about this, actually, because I've always wanted to do nursing. I want to end up as a nurse anesthetist in the end. But, yeah. And so I've always done, medical all of high school. And I was sitting in my counselor's office, and we were going over college plans and stuff like that. And she was like, why aren't you doing Sterling Scholar? And I was like, well, there's just not a category for me. I'm just doing nursing. I already know what I'm doing. And it could fit into science, but not really.
Sure.
And she was like, well, there is one. And I was like, what? And she's like, it's a technical sciences one. And this was an hour before the Sterling Scholarship things were due. So I sat in the office.
You know she was laughing.
And I just Violet gave me her portfolio kind of example, and I just started writing everything I had, all of my information. In probably an hour and a half, I just kind of did it all.
That's
just kind of
impressive.
crazy. And then I ended up winning, which was super shocking for me, but also super exciting for me. And yes, so thank you so much for my counselor, Amy Anderson. She saved me.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
That sounds scary though, too.
It was. I was stressed out. I was it felt very rushed, but I'm so glad that I did it.
Sometimes if you have more time to think, you talk yourself out of it. And
yeah.
And for you, Violet, and again, I apologize we can't see each other. I can't move these giant monitors.
It's okay.
But for you, what drove you into the Sterling Scholar Program?
I had always kind of wanted to do it when I was aware of it. I had a great English teacher. Shout out Mrs. Spindler. She retired last year, but she was in charge of it, and she told me, she's like, "Are you going to do this?" And I said, "I don't know." And I knew when I was a junior, I knew the seniors who did it, and I was like, okay, I could do this. And then I just applied, and my parents were my big supporters. Shout out Mom and Dad, because I'm kind of the kid who's like, I'm going to do this, and they go, okay. And so they read over. For English, it's a little different. Your portfolio includes 4 extra pages of writing you've published or that you've done for an essay or something, or I put in excerpts from the books I'm writing, and so I had them I'll have them look over it and say, does this sound good? Does this flow nicely, and those kind of things. So
that is. So I have to ask Violet. I also got a degree in journalism, and now I'm here. What I do is not journalism, but I talk a lot about journalism, and we discuss it with listeners and more. But what pulls you to that world? I'm curious because this is a really weird time.
Yeah.
In journalism.
I think I'll major in business probably, but I've always loved writing. I think I'm more of a storyteller than I am a reporter, but I've always loved it. My dad and my mom are both very creative people. My dad, he's a creative director for a company for his job, so I've seen the background of writing a script and making an advertisement and what kind of, makes the little things that we don't notice that are part of our everyday life. And I'm like, oh, there are these little stories everywhere. So that's why I like the idea of journalism and kind of illuminating that.
That's nice. There are a lot of great journalism that is storytelling. I just say thank you for letting me pick your brain a little bit. I'm just curious. Because I imagine if I were your age looking around at the world right now, it's got to be overwhelming to some extent, the world you're about to go into as you leave high school.
Yeah.
A lot of unknowns, a lot less certainty than when, I think, Frank, when probably at a time when our parents were their age, there was a little more certainty coming out of high school about, different paths and what it would bring you. So to see this much enthusiasm for a program this difficult, but also I just want to highlight this a little bit, and maybe you guys can talk about this more, but enthusiasm for education. That is something that's very clear in the 40 minutes or so that we've all been talking, that these all three of you really like school. I'm sure there are subjects you hate. Everyone has one, right? And if you want to list them, go ahead. You can vent a little bit here on the show. But education in general seems to excite you. That's inspiring a bit. Is there a reason? Is there, if you had to name a reason that you enjoy learning, enjoy challenging yourself in the education world, enjoy setting these goals at such a young age, do you think you could describe it as maybe an inspirational story for someone listening? For me? I would love half of this discipline that I'm seeing in this room, but
at least for me, with medical stuff, I just find it fascinating. Learning about the body is just so cool, learning how it works. I mean, I feel like it's pretty important to know how your body works since you live in it every day. But actually, science is one of my biggest struggles of a topic. Yeah, I am way better at math and English and
That's
writing.
interesting.
But it's most interesting to me, and so whether it takes me like a lot longer to understand the concepts and for stuff to click for me to learn stuff like that. But I think it's more rewarding for me when it actually does, and I'm like, I get the big picture or I understand it, because it's not just like easy stuff for me.
Sure. Makes sense. Anyone else want to weigh in? Sam Taylor? Sam Violet. I did it again.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as Taylor. I just think it's just super cool. I've always been drawn to science. I think I'm taking AP chemistry right now. I'm taking AP physics right now. Me and Taylor have it. She just looked at me. I took AP bio last year, and through and through after all of it, I can tell you physics is really hard, but it's still cool. And then all the other classes are just super cool. I think AP biology was probably one of the coolest classes I've ever taken. Shout out Mrs. Wright. But it's just, I think the way like Taylor said, the body works is just so incredible. And like, I think being able to influence people in a positive way through something that is so cool is like the fact that it's an available option. I just like, I can't, pass it up.
That is interesting. Violet, any thoughts?
I think it's interesting you always mentioned like the drive. You're like, go, go, go. But I mean, it's not always perfect. I definitely procrastinate. I feel every student, oh, gosh. You learn throughout high school, when you're like looking at your assignment and you're like, 11:59, wait. And then you realize, that's today. But I think I would be bored if I didn't have ambitions that I was striving towards. I've definitely had different like career goals or things I was pertaining to or wanted in my life, but I've always come back to like what feels natural and what feels the best and exciting. And I think for me that's literature, and I've always loved that. But I think the drive just comes from, I just want to learn, because I want to keep growing as a person. I don't want to be stagnant just because, it could be easy to be stagnant. I think you have more exciting times when you're looking at something new, when you're discovering something different.
That's really well said, Violet. I appreciate that.
Say the exact same thing.
For listeners, again, we're speaking in the studio with Sterling Scholars Samuel Smith, Violet Bateman, and Taylor Laney. Also here with us, Superintendent of Logan School District, Frank Schofield. It's our spotlight on Logan schools. We're talking about the Sterling Scholar Program. And on the other side, we'll talk a little bit about how the competition side of this works. Stick around. More of For the People right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Cares for Christmas is dedicated to helping local families. Family 12 is a strong and loving family of 7 who could use some help this Christmas. After losing their father 4 years ago, they faced tough times, even living in a homeless shelter. Now they're working hard to rebuild their lives in Cache Valley. They'd like gift cards for haircuts, clothes, stuffed animals, and even tapestries to make their home feel warm and special. To help this family, visit caresforchristmas.org. That's caresforchristmas.org. And thanks for caring this Christmas.
This holiday season, Hull Tree Care wants to say thank you for trusting us to care for your trees and shrubs throughout the year. Your support has helped us grow, and we're grateful to be part of this community. As winter settles in, it's the perfect time to give your trees a little TLC. Regular trimming during the dormant season not only keeps your trees healthy, but also prepares them to flourish in the spring. Let us help your landscape stay beautiful and strong, just like your holiday traditions. Call Hull Tree Care today at 760-6587. That's 760-6587. From our family to yours, happy holidays.
Anderson Seed & Garden's After Thanksgiving Blowout event is underway. Special sale pricing on hundreds of Christmas items in stock. Trees, wreaths, garlands, tabletops, wall decor, and much more. Also big discounts on floral picks, ornaments, and holiday ribbon. Sale runs now through the first weeks of December. Winter's almost here, but it's never a bad idea to learn about gardening. Sign up for Anderson's weekly gardening class, which starts January 27th. $40 a person or $60 for 2. See store for details. There's always something new at Anderson Seed & Garden, Logan.
Merry Christmas!
From our family to yours.
'Tis the season at Murdoch Volkswagen.
unwrap incredible savings during the most wonderful buy of the year.
And these deals are spreading joy far and wide.
Receive the gift of 0% for 60 months or 1.9% for 72 months on the 2024 Tiguan.
When you walk through our doors, you feel like family.
At Murdoch Volkswagen in Logan or online at murdochvw.com.
Call 888-391-6083 or see dealer for complete details. Offer expires 1/2/2025.
For the people. Wrapping up the show today with special guests here in the studio, spotlighting the Logan School District with Superintendent Frank Schofield here in the studio, and also Sterling Scholar student Samuel Smith, Violet Bateman, and Taylor Laney. And we're short on time, and we wanted to wrap up talking about one other aspect of this, and Frank, you even wanted to chime in on this, but I noticed that all three of our students have mentioned a teacher as an influence here. And I asked during the break, do the teachers know that? Do they know that they're influencing kids in these positive ways?
Well, that's one of the nice things about, again, things like Sterling Scholar, is it gives a chance for teachers to see impact. And I do want to emphasize that just a little bit. You know, as we talk about Sterling Scholars, you know, the first point of emphasis is, of course, having students who are driven and are capable and really achieving great things. And you don't get a Sterling Scholar recognition without that. But I think one other thing we've seen tonight is the illustration of how the individual student success is promoted, supported, encouraged by others. Of course, you have parents who are encouraging, driving, whether it's through overt insistence and pushing, or whether it's through modeling and just showing their own excitement for learning. And then you have staff, whether it's a counselor who says, hey, you really ought to do this. Mrs. Anderson, she's been on this show with us as we talk about Hope Squad. Yeah. As you talk about a teacher who really makes a class exciting. Miss Wright and Mr. Soph were on this show 2 months ago when we were talking about AP students.
That's right.
AP courses. So
fun conversation.
We've had, we see that. And this is the thing I love about working in our school district, is that we are surrounded by people, teachers, counselors, parents, et cetera, who are all committed to supporting students and having the best experiences they possibly can and achieving the highest level of potential that student is ready to achieve.
Sure.
Sometimes that's inviting, sometimes that's pushing, but we're surrounded by people who are committed to that. And because of that, we see students accomplishing some truly outstanding things now and preparing themselves for the future. So I love seeing how things like this are, of course, a reflection of the work of the individual student, and seeing how that work is supported by an entire network of committed people at home and at school who are all there just to help make that success happen.
That is, again, such an important part of it, but obviously a part that slips through the cracks easy, right? It stood out to me that all three of you guys have mentioned a teacher in one way or another as a positive influence. I think that's cool. You wanted to do shout-outs, right? We've got 4 minutes left, so you can each have like a minute and 10 seconds. Is that enough to do your shout-outs? Okay. Who wants to go first?
I've gone first a lot.
I can go first.
Okay, we'll start with Taylor.
My medical teacher, he is not in school anymore, but his name is Brad Nelson, and he was a hard teacher, really hard. But he was an amazing teacher at the same time. We did tons of fun labs. We did one lab where we dissected, this might be kind of gross to people, but it was like a pig, heart, and lung, and we cut the trachea, and he put an air compressor in it. We got to see the lungs blow up, in our hands, just super cool stuff like that, hands-on activities, which I love. And his tests were really hard. We had to do a lot. Me and Violet were both in that class, and we were studying 24/7. But I'm taking the college class now of medical anatomy and physiology through Weber, and the class is legit easier than my high school class I took with him. I think he prepared us very, very well for that, and it just goes to show that what you learn in the medical classes is just so important, because it's not just learning stuff to pass tests, but it's learning stuff to you're going to save someone's life knowing this knowledge someday, and I think that's really cool. And
that is very cool.
He's a cool teacher.
That is. All right. Violet, you want to just go around the table here in order?
Yeah. I've had 3 great English teachers, Jessica Krebs when I was freshman and sophomore, and then I had Pam Spindler sophomore and junior year, and then I have Mark Worthland right now. And I think the biggest influence they've had on me is that if I was like, I'm going to read this book, and I'm going to write this thing, and I'm going to do this, instead of being like, oh, that's so weird, or okay, like I never felt like dumb for wanting to achieve anything. It was always met with, okay, you can do that, and here's my advice for that. Or, you know what, I'm so glad you're passionate about this, but I think this would suit you so much better. And they have been really good, guiding lights. They never tried to take over in any situation, and they've always instilled, a love for reading and writing, which can be hard because sometimes reading and writing are hard.
Sure. And a challenge to be disciplined to practice, right?
Yeah.
All right. And Sam, your shout-outs?
I have 3 more. I already shouted out Mrs. Wright. Shout out Mrs. Wheeler, Rachel Wheeler, my orchestra teacher. I couldn't have gotten where I am without you. I really appreciate you. Thank you for everything you've done. She helped me get into the whole Carnegie Hall thing. She's helped me. She was the one that pushed me to audition for Sterling Scholar, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so, yeah, shout out her. Next on the list, Fabio Viugis. My dog. I love Fabio. He's helped me with calculus so much, which is crazy because he's a Portuguese teacher too. He's so smart. He is very kind. He's just, I wouldn't be where I am without him. And then my next shout out is Monica Chase. She was my actual calculus teacher, and she made math fun, which is really hard to do. So
it's very hard to do.
Congratulations. And then, yeah, I think that's all of them. Oh, and then also shout out my dad for helping me learn baseball too.
That's very cool. Baseball on top of that. Honestly, some impressive students. Frank, it's got to be fun to be surrounded by this every day and see the success and more. And for our listeners, check out the Sterling Scholar program if you're interested for your student in future years, sterlingscholar.org, or reach out to administrators and teachers at your respective high schools. It's a really unique program, and it is something that definitely sends kids out of high school in a good position. It's been a pleasure to meet you all. Samuel Smith, Violet Bateman, Taylor Laney, and Superintendent Frank Schofield of Logan School District